Hey guys, it's me again. Let's talk about this summative assignment. So this assignment does count as like a test grade or a major paper grade, so you're going to need to put a lot of your time and focus and energy into it. We've already been preparing all the way through this unit to get to this assignment, so you should be well prepared. It's going to test your skills as far as narrative writing, and it's also going to test your skills as far as being able to not only identify the traits of a Native American myth, but also then create your own using those traits. So we've already been doing practice with both of those. That's all we've been doing in this unit. So you should be well prepared for what we're going to ask you to do. All right, so you look over here on the left on this create your own myth. This is the assignment that is in its learning for you. So you're going to create your own origin myth for a tribe of people. You're going to explain the origin of something, a thing, a custom, a journey, whatever you want. You can pick it. You could go, the sky is the limit as far as creativity goes. Remember, it's a story, so it's not an essay, so it's not like your other essay where you are identifying the traits. This is you telling a story, just like the myths that we read in class. So you'll need characters, you'll need plot, you'll need setting, you'll need at least one conflict, and there should definitely be dialogue and imagery in your story. You can even create your own tribal name. Just be creative. I wanna see how creative you guys can get, and I know you've got some amazing things stored up in those little noggins. So if you look over here on the left, if you got stuck, I have some clues for you, so don't stress if you don't know where to start. But I've listed here on the left all of the qualities of Native American myths, and your story needs to have at least 4 of those show up in your story. So you need a female to help create things, you need cycles, you need numbers, or you need characters that are animals that are acting like humans. Whatever it is, just choose 4 of those 10, and they need to show up in your paper. Your myth should be about 1.5 pages. It shouldn't be really longer than that. It shouldn't be that much shorter than that. Kind of keep it in that 1 to 2 page range, double spaced, and make sure that you use strong action verbs and that your imagery and dialogue is correct. All right, so look over here on the left, what I'm showing you. These are some ideas. If you're like Nelson, I have no idea how to get started. What do I even write about? Here's some stuff. You could write a myth story, a creation myth about how evil came into the world, why land and water are separated, why volcanoes erupt, where rainbows came from after the rain. Whatever it is, there's a whole list there. If you can't think of anything on your own, I would love it if you just pulled something crazy out of your head and it's out of the blue. That's fine. But if you're stuck and you're like, I don't even know where to start, you can absolutely pull from this list, and it won't harm you in any way as far as your grade goes. All right. So we're going to keep going over here. There's a little bit discussion about organizing your ideas, but just kind of remember the plot diagram, right? So we should be leading up, figure out what your conflict is. You should lead up towards that conflict climaxing, and then you're going to go fast down towards the conclusion. There's a discussion about imagery, which you should know because we discussed it in our video, in our slides. And then there are the rules of dialogue. You don't have to have a ton of dialogue. If you remember when Grizzlies Walked Upright, there was a little bit of dialogue, but the whole paper isn't, or the whole story isn't dialogue. So just fill that in a little bit with some of the characters. They should just have a conversation. Start the pre-writing process. So you have this organizer. It's in PowerPoint. If you don't have PowerPoint, I think there's also a version in slides, or I may actually just upload it as a slide. And you can fill it in as you go. So this is your pre-writing. This is your pre-planning. You need to do all of this before you write anything. This is a formative assessment. So I'm checking this to make sure that you're prepared and ready to write your paper. Okay, so before you do anything, I want you to create your characters, tell me what their names are or what they are or whatever, give me your setting, where is this going to take place, and when this says origin, I want you to tell me what origin are you solving, like what creation myth is this explaining the beginning of, okay? And this should be very familiar to you because you did this for when Grizzlies Walked Upright. Now you're going to be filling this in with your own mental image, your own stuff that you're going to be doing for your story. So this is kind of just helping you brainstorm the narrative process. On the left, you're going to write, okay, like what was the world like before this thing is created and before creation happens in the world. The middle is everything that leads up to your climax. So your conflict needs to be kind of growing there in that middle section. And then at the end, we have like resolution and the consequences of the conflict and the creation. I do want you to check at the bottom here all of the ones that you're using. That's just a check off for you to ensure that you've included all of the traits so that you make sure you get all the points possible, right? That's the whole goal, is we want you to be able to get the highest grade you can get. And then on the back, you need to include at least one sentence of sensory details to make sure that you've included that. Setting or character are really easy ways to do that. So give me a really descriptive sentence about one of your characters, or give me a really descriptive sentence about the setting, or do both. That's actually even better. But as far as writing it on this, you only need to have one, but your story should probably have more than one. And then dialogue, at least choose 2 of your characters and then write a little bit of dialogue for them that makes sense for your story. Once you've done this pre-writing and you've submitted it, then you're kind of free to go ahead and start working on your paper if you want. There is time built in next week. Next week, you'll have a day where you're writing your myth. But if you want to start working on it once you've completed this, by all means, I'm not going to stop you from trying to make sure that you have something great. The key here, though, is to keep it under 2 pages. I don't want you to write a 20-page myth. If you remember from our myths, they're pretty short. So keep that in mind as you head forward into your writing. I know they're going to be great. I can't wait to read them.